All right, let's do another one. Let's do the one right underneath. Oh, actually, no. Let's not do that one. Let's do 19. All right, so we have negative 5 n minus 2 equals 8 minus 4n. So, big thing is, of course, we're always trying to combine like terms, but the next thing is that we have to be able to identify whenever we see what is called the distributive property. So we see the distributive property here because we're saying 4 times n, whatever that number is. So that's what we're saying when we say the distributive property. So here we now have negative 5 times n minus 2. Well, because it's called the distributive property, because we're going to distribute by multiplying, because you have to multiply these terms, we're going to distribute our negative 5 times n and our negative 5 times negative 2. Now, a common mistake that even a lot of my students had, and even I did going through college, is making sure you don't lose track of what signs you're using. So we're going to do the distribution before we do anything else. So, negative 5 times positive n, because there's no negative sign in front of here, there's no other number, so we know that n is positive. Well, negative 5 times n is just going to be negative 5n, because technically in front of n, there's a 1, and negative 5 times 1 is still negative 5n. Okay, so now that we have that, now we got to distribute to our second term, which is negative 5 times negative 2. Got to keep that negative. So negative 5 times negative 2, I'm just pick a different color. Negative 5 times negative 2. Well, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 5 times 2 is 10. So because it's positive, it's going to be plus 10 equals 8 minus 4n. Because we did nothing to this side, we just brought it down. All right, so now we're going to combine like terms. We have 2 terms with n, and we have 2 constants. Well, you can decide which one you want to move over first, but I usually move the variable over first to get it by itself. So again, if I'm going to move negative 4, I need to do the opposite by adding it, because I want to get rid of it on this side and move it to this side. So I know that negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so I've done that right. I'm going to add 4n over here, because what I have to do to one side, I have to do to the other. So negative 5, and I'm only going to add 4n to anything that looks like it, to its only like term. I'm not going to add it to the constant. It has to be like terms. So negative 5 plus 4. Maybe you can mental math this and reverse it and do 4 minus 5, which is negative 1. Or if you're ever having trouble with negative numbers, I always encourage my students to use a number line. Well, I know negative 5 is here, and I'm going to add 4. Well, add means I'm going this direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. So that's how I know negative 5n plus 4n will give me negative 1n. I'm going to clear this real quick. So negative 1n, or just negative n, because negative 1 times n is still n. So then I have n plus 10, because I didn't do anything with it, equals 8, because I didn't do anything with that 8, and that's all that I have, because remember I got rid of the 4n on this side. Well, now I need to have the n by itself, so I have to isolate it. So I have to move whatever else is there. Well, to move this 10, I'm going to need to subtract it because it's positive. So I subtract it from both sides, again, because I have to stay equal. So negative 10, or 10 minus 10 is 0, and 8 minus 10 is going to be negative 2. So I'm left with negative n, because that just came down, equals, bring down my equal sign, 8 minus 10 is negative 2. Now, we always want to find out what n equals. Whenever we're talking about a variable, we need it when it's positive. Right now we have negative. because we have negative n equals negative 2. Well, I need this n term to be positive. Well, the easy thing about that is that you just flip every sign that's in your equation, because you're technically going to multiply negative n times negative 1. That's what you're doing mathematically, is you're multiplying it by negative 1. But in your brain, you just be like, oh, I'm just going to change all of the signs. So then we know that n equals 2 as our answer. Because there has to be, n has to be positive, n has to be its own number. It can't be the negative state of n. And that's it for that one. I hope I am helping.